Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. A relevant and important piece of news that came out of the University of Florida. Involves their quarterbacks, involves the situation going into a big game this weekend with Texas A&M. Little bit of a backstory I think everybody knows, but listen, first of all, we all know the situation at Florida. Billy Napier on the hot seat, has to win games. Week 1 is just a total disaster against Miami for all the reasons that we've already discussed. You're playing a rival, you're at home, they have a third-year head coach, and they absolutely embarrass you. Again, we've talked about that, don't need to go into it. But why it is relevant to what we are talking about today is because there was a real sort of unfortunate situation that came out of it. It is that your starting quarterback, Graham Mertz, did get a concussion and was unavailable last week. Now, to be clear, I speak for myself. I speak for every Florida fan in America. Nobody is rooting for injuries to anybody. That's not what this is about. But with Graham Mertz hurt, what it did allow was the backup, who just so happened to be a 5-star, the #1 recruit in America, according to some services last year, the Gatorade National Player of the Year, DJ Lagway, to get the start last week against Sanford. Well, I bring it up because all you had to do was watch the highlights, and you realize that not only is DJ Lagway a guy that can make plays that no other quarterback on Florida's roster can make, he makes plays that basically nobody in college football, there's probably 2 or 3 guys in college football that could make the plays that he made on Saturday against Sanford. I know it's only Sanford, but finishes, 18 of 25 passing, finishes with, 18 of 25, 456 yards passing, and 3 touchdowns. Again, there were 2 or 3 plays. There was one play, he's sprinting like he's about to pick up a first down with his feet, stops on a dime, throws about a 60-yard dart in the air. And it wasn't one of those Joe Milton, I'm going to throw it up and pray for the best 60-yard passes. It was on a dime to his receiver for a touchdown. So this kid is special. And so with it, you would think that Billy Napier, he just got a gift from the heavens. 1, you kept him last year at signing day with DJ Lagway. But 2, you started him. He wasn't just as good as everybody hoped. He was better. And so you'd assume in a make or break year, Billy Napier would say, you know what? We're riding with the kid. This is the only card I have left in my deck, and this is what we're doing. Which brings us to Monday, because the piece of news is that Billy Napier was asked about the quarterback room. Graham Mertz is available this weekend after, again, unfortunately suffering that concussion. And Billy Napier, to the chagrin of probably just about every Florida fan that doesn't have the last name Mertz, announced that basically he plans on playing both quarterbacks going forward. Here's what Billy Napier said at his press conference on Monday, quote, "Our intention the entire time has been to play DJ in every game. It's a blessing to have 2 really good quarterbacks, and certainly one with a ton of experience and one without. There's no doubt both of these guys will make us harder to defend. We intend to use both of them." Now, to be clear, look, Billy Napier could be pulling our leg. Billy Napier could be trying to fool us all and convince us that one guy, both guys are going to play. Whatever. No. I don't think Billy Napier has shown me nothing to prove that he is clever enough to pull that off or even think of it. So I think the intention is really to play both quarterbacks. And I'll say this, in a moment in time where he needs some kind of positivity, I just think this is a big mistake. And I'll be blunt, I think it's going to end up costing him his job in the long run. Now, in terms of the decision, I will defend Billy Napier on this because, listen, I haven't said very many nice things about the guy the last couple weeks, but I do think this decision comes from a good place, okay? In my opinion, why he made this decision, it's for the noble reason of trying to really show respect to both quarterbacks and ultimately basically say, like, look, I made you promises in the preseason. I'm a man of my word. From the Graham Mertz perspective, he decided to come back. He had an extra COVID year. He knew Lagway was coming in. He could have transferred. He could have gone pro, I guess, although I don't think he's really a pro. He had other options, but he came back to Florida because he believed in you and he believed in this program. So you don't want to kick him to the curb. You don't want to throw him to the side. I get that. And I think it's kind of the same with DJ Lagway, okay? DJ Lagway, you brought him in. You said, hey, we got this fifth-year senior coming back for another year, maybe even a sixth-year senior, whatever Graham Mertz is, fifth, sixth-year senior. And listen, we're not going to throw you into the fire before you're ready. We're going to take your time. We're going to let you develop at your own pace. You're going to play, but we're not going to put everything on you as a true freshman. So that to me is probably why Billy Napier has made this decision. Again, I think there's probably a little bit of nobility to it. I also just think it's flat out the wrong decision. And I'm sorry, I respect the decision. Or I don't respect the decision. I respect the reason behind the decision. I also think it's the wrong one. First off, let me say this. In the NIL era, I am a lot less sympathetic to any player's feelings or whatever, okay? Because when I look at this situation in the NIL era, just think about it like this. First off, just think about it like the most basic level. We know that Matt Rule said last offseason that transfer quarterbacks are going for $1 million a pop, okay? We also know based on what the Jaden Rashada situation at Florida, that transparently, probably realistically, really good high school quarterbacks are going for probably well over seven figures, probably in the $2 to $3 million range if, the Jaden Rashada numbers are accurate, okay? So there is a possibility that those two guys, Rashada and Lagway, are quite literally like the second and third highest paid people, not players, second and third highest paid people in the Florida football facility behind only Billy Napier, okay? And so I think when you're talking about that much money involved, feelings have to go to the side. By the way, Graham Mertz, if you want to be a pro, this happens in the pros all the time, okay? Think about the NFL. Think about just what has happened in the NFL, and we're only through week one. Russell Wilson gets hurt. Justin Fields goes in. Justin Fields gets a win. You think if Justin Fields keeps playing well, Mike Tomlin's going to feel bad and insert Russell Wilson because it's the right thing to do or because promise? No. Mike Tomlin's job is to win games. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields are paid and have to accept the good and the bad that comes with being a professional. By the way, who did Pittsburgh beat? Atlanta and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins whining on NFL draft night because they drafted another quarterback. Guess what? Deal with it. You're really well paid. And so I don't want to hear about Graham Mertz's feelings. And I'm not saying Graham Mertz is a bad guy. I'm not saying Lagway is a bad guy. I'm not even saying Billy Napier is a bad guy. But I don't care about anyone's feelings when everybody in this conversation is making seven figures and there's that much at stake. By the way, it's kind of the same with DJ Lagway. Listen, I'm sure they would have loved to move you along a little bit slowly. But if this doesn't get done, then guess who's out of a job? Billy Napier. And guess what? It's not really Billy Napier's job to be sympathetic about your development or time or whatever. It's his job to win football games. And that's why, to me, this is a no-brainer, okay? This is a unique situation because of the situation that Billy Napier is in, and he's got to do whatever it takes within the rule book to win games right now, or he will not be back next year. Feel bad for Graham Mertz. Feel bad maybe even for DJ Lagway because of the circumstances in which he got this job getting thrown into the fire in week 3 of his true freshman year. But guess what? If his coach doesn't win, it doesn't really matter because the coach that he came to play for isn't going to be there a year from now anyway. And so I look at it and a couple things. One, this isn't a situation where you can ease this thing along. You have to win games now if you're Billy Napier. It's funny. I was thinking about the Josh Heupel, Nico situation at Tennessee. Josh Heupel could be patient with Nico because he knew he wasn't on the hot seat last year. So he took his time. That's not Billy Napier's situation. You can't be patient. I don't care that you have a veteran. You have to win now. DJ Lagway not only gives you the best chance, but he gives you the most hope. By the way, don't tell me that this kid's a true freshman. You know what I was doing on Saturday night? Watching Dylan Raiola in Nebraska punk Colorado. So don't sell me that he's a true freshman. Don't sell me that he's too young. This is the only move to make. And when I look at it from either Billy Napier's perspective, the Florida perspective, whatever, here's what stands out to me. There are really only 4 decisions that Billy Napier could make, and 3 of them don't end up well for him. Okay, so what I mean by that is this. Billy Napier's at a crossroads. I've obviously spent 8 minutes talking about that. But what does Billy Napier have to do, right? Billy Napier has to win games, and there are 4 decisions that he could make right now. 3 of them are bad, only 1 of them is good. Of the 4 decisions he can make, keep playing Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz just hasn't proven to be good enough. Not totally his fault, doesn't have a ton of talent around him. And by the way, you keep doing what you've been doing, you keep putting out Graham Mertz, and it looks like Miami, you're out. And you're out sooner rather than later. You could play both quarterbacks, but that's probably not going to work. Neither of them's going to get into a rhythm. Boom, you're gone anyway. You could play DJ Lagway and he's not good. That is a possibility. But guess what? That ain't your problem for 2025. And if he isn't good, then you're going to be gone and he's going to be probably on his second college anyway and in the transfer portal. So the only option you really have is play DJ Lagway and hope he's as good as we think he is based on what we saw on Saturday night. To me, this is a no-brainer. Like I said, I think there's at least a possibility that maybe old Billy Napier's trying to get clever and trying to outsmart anybody. But I think realistically, he's trying to do what's right. There's a time and a place to do what's right. I don't know that this is it. Cannot believe he is not playing DJ Lagway and think it is a decision that could ultimately cost him.